What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So welcome back to another episode of Debunking Anti Gunners. Let's get right into it. So on this episode of Debunking Anti Gunners, this is going to be, a special one. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are gun owners. They won't take anything. So I'm sure a lot of y'all saw the presidential debate, and unlike a lot of y'all, I actually watched through its entirety. And oh my goodness, was it awful. It was awful to watch. What I will say is very clearly a biased debate, very clearly biased moderators, but I'm not going to get into that. That's for another video if I do decide to talk about that, because that's not really pertaining too much to the Second Amendment. Now, moving on from that, there was a little moment that caught my attention where Kamala Harris, or as I call her, Kamala, for other reasons, so Kamala sat there and said, well, I own guns, Tim Walz owns guns. We're not trying to take anybody's guns. We're not going to take anything. That is not true in any capacity. Don't let them lie to you guys just because you only watch the debate. You need to see what they say outside of debates as well. Because truth be told, for anybody who actually watched the entire debate, you can admit they pretty much, neither side really talked too much about policies. Like the entire time was pretty much, Kamala lying about Trump and Trump having to defend himself and argue with the moderators at the same time. Really wasn't too much of a debate talking about policies here, because overall the left wasn't playing fair. Now, that once again, another video if I do decide to talk about that. Moving on from that though, what I can say is she is completely lying to you guys. I don't have to sit here and, oh, well, how do you know that she's not telling the truth? I know based off her history, the things she has said before, and truth be told, I know based off the type of person that she is. The same person who would sit there and keep thousands of people, all right, thousands of people, have them locked up over small amounts of weed. The same woman who sat there and was supposed to give evidence that would have freed a man from death row and refused to do so until she was forced to. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like she's a good person. She's really not. I mean, of course, once again, I guess, everybody's feelings are subjective, but there is an objective good out there. And that objective good is saying, no, that's not a good thing to do. So whether people like it or not, she's not the best person. She's not the most reliable or morally correct person. So we got to take that into account, on top of the fact that she has said several times in the past, oh, well, we need an assault weapons ban. We need all of these restrictions on the Second Amendment. All in all, you can't sit here and really fall for anything she says during a presidential debate, because you have to look outside of the debates. Now, some of y'all might be wondering, well, how do you know that her position hasn't changed on it, right? How do you know, well, maybe she sat there, thought about it, or in the liberals' case, they meditated with crystals, and they do a lot of, oh my goodness. I'm trying my hardest to not go off on a rant here, because you can tell that lie that Kamala said really stuck to me. It really pissed me off. It really got under my skin. But back to what I was saying, I really doubt she sat there and just, thought about it and was like, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, the Second Amendment is important. We shouldn't try to, push for, mandatory buybacks, which she has advocated for several times, an assault weapons ban, which she's advocated for several times. It's funny because, some people could try to make that argument, and maybe you're right, except 2 days later, 2 days later, not one, not three, 2 days later, she goes out, gives a speech where she says, we need to ban assault weapons. What? So you just said y'all didn't want to take anything 2 days prior. On the 10th of September, you guys said that. Now on the 12th of September, You're saying we need to ban assault weapons, which means you're going to take, and keep in mind their definition of an assault weapon, because an assault weapon is a made-up term. It was made up by the anti-gun crowd to confuse people who look at rifles, semi-automatic rifles, that look similar to rifles that are used in war, that have full auto capabilities, and try to convey them to be the same thing when they're not. Because guess what? My AR is not the same thing as an M4. You see what I mean? While I have the civilian version, it's not the same thing. Why? Because I don't have full auto capabilities. So therefore, mechanically, it's not the same thing. You can't call it the same thing. That, like, my problem with it is that what they define as an assault weapon is any gun that takes a detachable magazine. So you're left with revolvers, lever actions, bolt actions, pump actions, or single shotter, double barrel shotguns, right? You're not left with much just from that. Oh, and if they can hold more than 10 rounds, forget about it. It's over. Can't have that either. So, mini shells pretty much are out of the equation for those of y'all who are wondering, because how do they know that you can't put more than 10 in it? That gun's probably going to be taken off. You see what I'm saying? So overall, she advocated for an assault weapons ban 2 days after saying that they don't want to take anything. Tim Walz has openly advocated for taking these quote-unquote weapons of war off the streets. He said the same weapons he used in war. He was never in war. And it's funny because a lot of these things that I'm talking about right now, I've actually already had to speak about on this channel. I've done videos fairly recently, actually, talking about the fact that Kamala, once again, has advocated for infringements on the Second Amendment. I've done videos talking about how Tim Walz has lied about his military service to advocate for infringements on the Second Amendment. The fact that I'm even having to make this video because I know these anti-gunners are typing it up right now saying, oh, well, she just said during the presidential debate, they won't take anything. Y'all are just crazy. Yeah, she just said 2 days later that she wants to ban assault weapons, which means taking people's guns away as well. Because you got to look into what they define as an assault weapon, which once again, if it has over a 10-round capacity, you're screwed. If it takes a detachable magazine, you're screwed. What are you left with? You're left with revolvers, breech open shotguns. All right, so what does that mean? That means single shot or double barrel, whether it's over, under, or side by side. You're left with pump actions. Some. You're left with lever actions. You're left with bolt actions. That is it. There's nothing left for you. Oh, maybe some derringers. There we are. Nothing left for you. Why would they want that? Well, because they want to go tyrannical. They don't want people to be able to protect themselves properly. So what are they going to do? They're not going to sit here and throw you into a panic by saying, oh, we're going to take all of your guns by force. We're just going to take the ones that, are scary and bad for you. I can go into this rant all day and I'll be here for like an hour doing this video. I'm not going to force you guys to sit through that though. What I can say is that very clearly through her own words and her own actions, that anti-gunner phrase that is already being pushed and probably will continue to be pushed because anti-gunners love not doing their research. They love to act like they know everything, not do any research, and, then get on the internet and start typing. Through her own actions, she has disproven what she said at the debate. I mean, I don't think it can get any better than that. And I don't think it can get any dumber on her end than that. But with that being said, I think that about wraps it up for this video. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all, and whether or not you agree with me, I don't know how you could disagree with me on this, because this isn't like, oh yeah, well, my opinion thing. Kamala literally disproved what she said at the presidential debate 2 days later by advocating for an assault weapons ban. I don't know how else you could. I don't know what you could be disagreeing with me about, but whether or not you agree or disagree, whether or not you agree or disagree with me, make sure to comment down below why or why not, and then make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.